It's Tuesday, March 24th, and I hereby call the Advanced Transportation District regular board meeting to order.
I don't think he heard the gavel.
Oh. Thank you.
It's very loud already.
I'm going to first start off by doing roll call, but I'd like to welcome all of you to our meeting. Thank you so much for taking the time from your busy schedule to attend. It's great to see our staff, and to all our riders, thank you so much for bringing your thoughts and concerns to us. With that, I'll start off with roll call. Trustee Cedillo?
Here, welcome.
Trustee Marne?
Here, I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting, and today is my first meeting as an appointed board member who is not filling someone else's appointment.
Oh.
Because the Bexar County Council of Mayors of Cities has appointed me to represent these suburban cities for the next 2 years. And I look forward to serving all the people here in the audience and my fellow board members.
Thank you. Congratulations. We look forward to working with you, Mayor Marne, over the next 2 years. Trustee Poneck?
Present, and good afternoon, everyone.
Trustee Gambita?
Present. I'd just like to welcome everybody for coming week after week, for providing your input. I'm a county appointee. I look for a future of innovation and creativity in the delivery of services to this community, and I appreciate serving on this board.
Thank you. Trustee, Vice Chair Allison?
Here. I also want to welcome everybody here and thank everyone for coming, and glad to see that we have a nice spring on the horizon.
Secretary Harrison?
Present. I'd like to also say that I'm here to give my input and my expertise on growing this organization into a multimodal organization. We know that we have our riders and we have our common riders. Like I said, myself at Greyhound Bus Lines, and here at VIA, we have common riders and we have a common purpose. So I'm here steadfast to make sure that the city grows and the city has the transportation options it's going to need for its future.
Thank you. I believe that Trustee Thompson is running late and is on her way. Right? Trustee Perez? Have we heard anything? Okay. Absent. And Trustee Bryant has also requested that he be excused and he's not going to be present this evening. Trustee Morgan.
Hello. It's great to see everybody.
Wonderful.
Be back.
Well, thank you all so much. We'll move on to a moment of reflection. Thank you. If y'all will please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jeff, any announcements?
I would like to recognize in the audience Mario Jorge, who is the district engineer and a great partner to work with. Welcome, Mario.
Great to see you, Mario. All right, move on to item number 3, which is our consent agenda. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
We have Trustee Cedillo making the motion for approval, and we have Secretary Harrison for second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Reports. Jeff.
I will do my report.
Okay.
Main report in the. I will do my main report in the VIA meeting.
All right. Then item number 4, Transportation Alternative Program Agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation. Clay?
Good evening. And my name is, for the record, my name is Clay Smith, the Director of the Advanced Transportation District, and have a special guest today, as Mr. Arndt introduced, Mario Jorge, the District Engineer here in San Antonio. And item 4 is the Transportation Alternatives Program, and last year the board requested funding through the MPO, through the Transportation Alternatives Program, or TAP, and we were successful for $1 million, which goes towards our MyLink program to help enhance the connections from our bus stops. And in working the program initially, the city of San Antonio, they were successful also in the program, and they were doing some links on pedestrian facilities. But in this particular application that we submitted, we partnered with TxDOT, and they said if we were successful in securing funds through the MPO, and these particular ones we focused on state routes where there were some high ridership, but also some pedestrian enhancements that we needed to do, along with some ADA connections. And so TxDOT and Mario said if you're successful in getting the grant, which has a 20% match to it, then TxDOT would do the design, management, and construction management for those, building them according to VIA's template and locations that we identified. And so our recommendation tonight is that the board would give President, CEO, and our representatives the authorization to negotiate and to work with TxDOT on the funding agreement for the TAP program. And that's presentation today, and I asked Mario if he would also be here, if he would like to say any words as well.
Just very briefly, appreciate the opportunity, Madam Chair and the board members, to be here with you all today. This is a great example of a partnership that we try to do in a number of projects. This project in particular, we're very, very excited about, because one of the concerns that we have is pedestrian safety, and in looking at our major arterials, there is a significant need for pedestrian amenities and improving the safety of pedestrians. So a project like this just really allows us to work with you all very closely. Like Clay mentioned, we will be obviously providing the design, construction management for the project. That would relieve that from VIA and the ATD board. But at the same time, we're looking to do bigger and better things with pedestrian safety. So this is a good start, I think, for us in conjunction with VIA. So we're looking forward to working on the project. We've already hired a consultant to be ready to roll as soon as the agreements are in place. So.
Great. Members, any questions, comments?
I'd like to move I'd like to make a motion and first congratulate Mr. Smith and Mr. Arndt for developing this partnership to this point. It's VIA. It's very good for VIA. It's very good for the community, for pedestrians and vehicular traffic, both in this region. So I want to thank TxDOT as well, Mr. Jorge. I move that we authorize the President, CEO, or his designee to negotiate, finalize, and execute a funding agreement with TxDOT for the local match requirement and development of Transportation Alternatives Program, MyLink Plan.
Second.
We have a motion from Trustee Gambita, and we have a second from Trustee Marne. Any questions, any comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, and we certainly look forward to a great working relationship with TxDOT. As Dr. Gambita said, we are so happy to be a good community partner, and collaboration is the way we're going to keep this city moving forward, and we certainly plan to be a partner. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
5, do we have a legal briefing? No legal briefing? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the Advanced Transportation District regular board meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion, right, and a second. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. So did you get that, a motion from Trustee Morgan and a second Vice Chair? Okay, good. All right. Moving forward, we now call the regular VIA board meeting to order. Okay. All right. I'm going to call on Jeff to do our report.
Okay, so this evening, we have a lot going on lately, so we have a lot to report. But I'd like to start out by introducing you to one of our newest members of our family, our Public Information Officer, Lorraine Pulido. Lorraine, stand up. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Lorraine. When I tell you about Lorraine, then you'll clap again when you hear it all, right? She will serve as our point of contact for media and work closely with other departments to share information. She has 17 years experience, which I can't hardly believe that, in communications, public relations, and marketing. Comes to us from the city of San Antonio, where she served as public relations manager for the city's communication and public affairs department. She's a graduate of the Harlandale High School, the University of Pennsylvania, Columbia University, Our Lady of the Lake University. So between all three of those, you have a doctorate, correct? Yes. She is a doctor. So we are fortunate to have her on our team, and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Last month, we talked a bit about Bravo for Artability and the exhibit that we had at the Grand of artwork that was done. I think the theme was You're Never Too Old to Create. But we have something very special. I think you'll remember last month that we introduced Lily Balthazar, who is an art instructor at the Commander's House Senior Center. And I told you that she had, in the building, I had seen a painting she did of the dome at the Grand, but she actually has a full painting of the dome, and she has agreed to donate this painting to VIA to thank us for hosting the traveling exhibit, a program that showcased the artwork of senior citizens. She participated in the exhibit, which was on display during February. Joining her this evening is Gloria de la Cruz Sandoval, Recreational Supervisor with the Commander's House, and also is our Community Relations Coordinator, Jerry Ann Jones, who puts these kinds of programs together so beautifully every year. So we'd like to, I'd like to call the three ladies up, and I'll ask Hope to join us over here at the picture and take a picture of the picture, all right? Let's go up over here to the east.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, absolutely.
So I hope several of you were able to see the trolley that we are going to launch this Saturday on the E. The inaugural run of the E route will be held this Saturday, the 28th. There will be a Cascaron christening of the vehicle, and it will occur at the corner of Market and Navarro. So we're inviting the public to join us for this occasion. Begin gathering at that corner at 5:45 p.m. on Saturday. And after very, very brief remarks, we promise we'll keep them brief, and mariachi serenade and our christening, we will begin operating that service. Officially begins at 6 p.m. Saturday, runs on Tuesday through Saturday from 6 p.m. to midnight, and it's about a 20-minute round trip, I think, for someone who just wants to give it a try. And so we hope we'll see you all out there and visit the E. And we remember the E stands for Eats, it stands for Entertainment, it stands for Everybody, and it stands for Free. E, that's the free. So welcome aboard. This past Sunday. I'm sorry. Oh.
Are you going to pass out the t-shirts?
We'll have the board members select their t-shirts.
Okay.
We have
Because
them
I'm
in-
wearing mine.
Oh. Well, stand up. I want one. Whoa.
This is all I'm taking off tonight.
Yeah, right. I'll wear the button, that's right. Every 6 months, bus and van operators and fleet and facilities staff people are evaluated for their performance, and those who excel in these evaluations are recognized, and we call them VIA stars. And so this past Sunday, we had a really extraordinary event. Since I've been here, we would typically have kind of a banquet to recognize the stars and bring them forward and take a picture, et cetera. But I had challenged HR, said, let's make it something that people really want to come to. And so they came up with a great event at the main event, and they made me go, and I do not like heights, but they made me go up into this area and cross a ladder and greet everybody, which was crazy.
You're a trooper.
But as I said, it takes a lot to get me to do that, but these people are all worth a lot. And so in order to earn an excellent award, an operator must have perfect attendance, no preventable accidents, no occupational injuries, and no disciplinary actions throughout an evaluation period of 6 months. And there's similar criteria on the maintenance side. To earn that award then is achievement unto itself, but we do have a couple operators that we're going to invite here, that we have invited here tonight as kind of the top of the line, and we'd like to recognize them. So first of all, paratransit operator Joyce Gonzalez. Joyce, please stand up. Joyce has been a part of our family for 27 years.
Wow.
And she has earned excellent award for 5 consecutive years. And so we thank you for your service. 5 consecutive years is fantastic. Next, I'd like to recognize bus operator Juan Ramirez. Juan? Okay. So he's a young'un because he's only been around 25 years,
Oh, my goodness.
but he's learning quickly. He also has won 6 consecutive awards, and his dedication to serving our riders and communities is commendable, so thank you. And then in the fleet and facility side, we have two folks we'd like to recognize tonight because they have done almost the impossible. Sign worker Sammy Gallegos. And steam cleaner operator Roger Soto. So what makes these guys really special, they have both kept perfect records since the inception of the Excellent Award for 11 straight awards. So that's remarkable. So who made it on Sunday? See? And was it, there you go. Was it better than rubber chicken? I hope so. Thank you so much for your service. And we have so many people, so many of our staff that achieved that award, but these guys are really at the very top. Thank you so much. I have one additional note from maintenance, and that is that a case study describing our training program for Fleet and Facilities Division has been selected for inclusion in a Transportation Research Board, TRB, publication of best industry practices. TRB is one of 6 major divisions of National Research Council, and so being recognized by that organization is high praise. In a cooperative effort with ATU leadership, VIA has assembled a mechanics training program that has worked to significantly increase skill levels of our employees, and as a side benefit, but we like the side benefit, has helped us win 3 of the last 4 International Bus Rodeo Champions. So, Gary, to you and your crew, congratulations. I'm trying to remember what night it was, but I guess it was, let's see, this is Tuesday, last Thursday evening, VIA was awarded by WTS, which is a Women's Transportation Symposium, the Rosa Parks Diversity Award for the year. It's the 5th kind of diversity award we've won in the past 12 months, which is pretty remarkable when it comes right down to it. And it's probably really particularly gratifying in that it's the Rosa Parks Award. So that award was to recognize the work that we do in promoting diversity both within internal employment and within our contracting processes. So congratulations to all the staff on that award. Abigail Rodriguez, she's back. Stand up.
Hey.
Pleased to announce she is one of VIA's employees that's been selected to participate in the 2015 Eno Transit Mid-Manager Seminar, a leadership course for mid-level managers in public transportation. We proudly nominated Abigail, and she was selected and will participate in a week-long intensive training course in Salt Lake City in Utah in July. It's plenty warm there too, but Abigail is a rising star, and so congratulations for being accepted. Tomorrow morning, I will be joining City of San Antonio representatives to announce the kickoff of what is being called SA Tomorrow, which is the 3 planning phases: the comprehensive plan, the multimodal transportation plan, and the sustainability plan. And we will be announcing that on Saturday, April 11th, there will be a kickoff event at SAISD Alamo Convocation Center. And it'll be a family-oriented event, but this really kicks off that full process. This evening, they're having a kickoff process with the working groups, and that's why Brian, for example, is not here. Brian is on one of the working groups. I let them know I could not be there tonight, but made sure that they were not planning to always hold them on the fourth Tuesday of the night. But so they're really ramping up that process, and as you know, we're really strong partners with them, so we're looking forward to that. And then as a final note, tonight we are going to say goodbye to a valued member of our team, my senior advisor, Charlie Gonzalez. Charlie has shared with me his intention to embark on a new chapter of his career, and his last day here will be April 6th, right? Since coming to VIA in March 2013, I don't get a swelled head, but I'll tell you, Charlie has used his skills to help us build our relationships throughout the entire community. His experience as a congressman has been instrumental in moving several capital projects through various federal processes. He has worked with elected officials and community leaders to ensure that active involvement in VIA's many programs and projects. He's really brought a focus, I think, to the staff from a constituency focus services element, which was part as an elected official. He really brought that focus to the VIA staff. Charlie's been a steadfast supporter of the VIA family, and he assures me he will remain a strong supporter of VIA, our employees, and the work we do every day to provide top-notch service to our 13-city service area. And so I just want to say to you, thank you so much. I've learned so much from you. You have provided great service to VIA during these few years, but you've provided a lifetime of community service. You will be missed, and I really wish you well in your venture in the future. Thank you, Charlie. That is my report.
Great report. To all the award winners in the audience, congratulations. We're so proud of you. My goodness, all the years that you've given this organization, thank you. Thank you very much, and we hope that you continue with us and continue making us proud too. Thank you very much. Charlie, we're going to miss you. Thank you for everything that you've done for our country, for the state, for this community, and we look forward to continuing our work together. Once a VIA family member, always a VIA family member. Definitely. Good. Members, any other comments?
I was, Chairman, I was at the actual main event on Sunday with my son, and Jeff was the only CEO to deliver to his working group from the top of the actual scaffolding. So I know that was something that he was brave enough to do. And he was the only person that actually did that for all the companies that they've ever had. So he's the only one that delivered from the top. But I do agree with this event actually was more of a relaxed event. It was more of a family type event. And I think they actually got a kick out of it. The VIA logo was represented very well. Everyone was, it was a good time. It was a good time had by all. And I was very impressed with the event and Mr. Peoples and his organization, how it was all structured. So not only for the bus operators and the facilities people, but maybe we can roll this out for a larger whole organization if possible.
Well, thank you. Jeff, I did see some of those photos, and now that we have a witness that you were up there, I won't wonder whether it was photoshopped. But I want to thank you on behalf of the board for knowing how to appreciate our employees. Okay, that's very
easy to appreciate.
Well, I have to say that for the board, that is very important, is that we have a CEO that understands the importance of celebrating our employees. So thank you, Jeff, very much. Okay. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to item number 4, citizens to be heard.
Madam Chairwoman, we have 5 citizens to be heard tonight, and the first citizen is Damon Mason.
Many salutations. It is I, Damon Mason. I see you've decided upon the new chair. Shama Andrade. I do feel bad I do not have the means to properly greet you, especially when I have some things I want to have happen. The first order of business is the overglorified cattle trailer that's behaved toward the motor coach for the Texas Loop 345 BRT service route. Every time I ride that articulated CNG motor coach, there are several things that become quite apparent to me. I'm dreadfully certain that the articulated motor coach is constantly trying to destroy itself whenever it encounters the tiniest flaws in the road surface. It's going to fly to pieces at the wrong moment in the not too distant future. Another thing that worries me has to do with the cacophonous difficulty with which the CNG motor coach is made to ascend the acclivity to the eastbound McDermott Freeway after the passenger interchange at the southbound Weesett Station. Considering its potency is only scored at 250 horsepower, I'm dreadfully certain that the power plant of the CNG motor coach will eventually go on strike while ascending that acclivity, and it will be a huge mess when that happens. Via, let us not tempt fate. I'm going to insist that VA Metropolitan Transit deny any. Okay, well, you've already done that. But anyway, I insist that VA Metropolitan Transit retire from active service and send to the junkyard each and every mainline motor coach built by North American Bus Industries. I'm going to insist that VA practice a heavy dose of KFOT mTOR for the near and distant future when purchasing mainline and paratransit vehicles. Upon hearing of Time Warner having single interest in allowing itself to be bought out by Comcast, I made up my mind I was not going to help Time Warner finance that kind of corporate treachery and switch to another internet provider, which I'm very happy. If this private citizen can come arrive to that conclusion and act accordingly, I fail to understand why the same cannot be said for VA Metropolitan Transit, especially when we're talking about public funds here. There's something about San Antonio that really drives me batty. That was demonstrated on the 14th day of March 2015 when I was transporting some groceries home. As I was being driven to Elizabeth Parking Lot on the southbound Texas Loop 305 BRT coach, there was this awful traffic jam heading east on Market Street going nowhere very slowly. What was that about? More importantly, why is it that the epiphany about the folly of allowing a bunch of private automobiles into the central business district without any kind of traffic control plan not arrived at before downtown San Antonio ended up as an oversized parking lot? Via, I demand better. You know for a fact these motors will get impatient and leap out in front of approaching mainline motor coach without heed to the fact that it has a mass of 30,000 pounds, 60,000 pounds in the case of the CNG articulated motor coach, and thus cannot easily be brought to a halt. Given that air brakes do not engage as quickly as hydraulic brakes when they are applied, it should not require much computation to realize the significant safety implications of the urban mainline service mixed in with road traffic at speeds slower than 50 miles per hour. Enough is enough. I want to be given the stewardship to develop that traffic control plan. Perhaps the greatest issues that I wish to raise tonight has to do with the initiative of my own design, which in a nutshell is to add a double HOV lane for the exclusive public transit use to Texas Loop 13, which consists of West Military Drive, Southwest Military Drive, Southeast Military Drive, all the way from US 90 and runs east past I-35 and I-37, all the way to Texas 177, along with South W. Knight Road, North W. Knight Road, all the way to Northeast Loop 410. I've approached the Alabama Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, along with both the Federal Transit Administration, Federal Highway Administration, and in addition here to VA Metropolitan Transit, which I would have hoped we excited about the project and would vigorously pursue this because it is for VA I took time to compose that proposal for Texas Loop 13.
Mary Donahue.
Good afternoon. My issue has to do with something that happened to me on Sunday. I was trying to every Wednesday, I usually have to I change my return ride going from work, going to church for choir practice. I was off last week. I guess I must have been really off. I didn't do it until Sunday, and I know part of this is my fault, but the earliest I could get a ride is 2:45. I do not have to be at church until at least 5 or after. If there's any way that we could get the technology, if there's a way we could change rides without having to cancel our original rides and then have to book another one, it would certainly be nice. If the cab subsidy was increased, I could have taken a cab and gone to church tomorrow, and I could have left at 3:30.
Hear, 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 hear.
Thank you.
Ferris Hodge.
They wanted to know what your name is. My name? Yeah. What is your name? Andy. His name is Andy. Okay, the code of conduct, I can't talk as fast as he can, but I can write. The code of conduct signs are not on the buses anymore, and I would like to know why. The code of conduct signs have never been on the Primo buses. The bus stops, poles, 95%, haven't been painted in the last 5 or 10 years. Leon Valley, people are still standing or sitting, standing on Elvis Road. Bus stop, they can't see it. Go down McCullough, on one side of the street, it's lit up. On the other side of the street, you can't see the driver can't see you. Those sorry CPS lights that they put up is sorry. And y'all can tell them I said so. The VIA bus windows, y'all need to stop putting those advertisements on the buses. We cannot see when it rains. We cannot see at night. We cannot see the bus stop. So y'all need to stop doing that. VIA, y'all are doing a good job. I got to commend you for introducing the new board members, the board members that's here. You have your roll call so we know who's here. We know who didn't come in on time, but I ain't gonna mention his name because he didn't do it when we was over at City Hall. But we go way back, so we're not gonna fall out. I ain't gonna call your name. I don't want to know who you are, but I know who you are. But anyway, y'all need to do something about Randolph Park and Ride. It's filthy. Y'all need to tear that down and build another one. People keep saying, well, we're gonna build another one. Well, how much longer is it gonna take to build another one? Where the handicap stalls is one stall, and always you got 2 or 3 people need to use the restroom. Y'all need to have 3 stalls for the handicap. You need to have 3 stalls, regular stalls. We used to have a mirror. Somebody broke the mirror, and y'all haven't put the mirror back up. And I think we need to see, it's our hair standing on our head or whatever. Okay. Okay. The next thing is the new trolleys. We had a chance to, staff took me to take a look at it. I like the new trolleys. I like the shirt that you have on. I like wearing loud colors. They see you coming. But anyway, y'all doing a good job. I hope that y'all have the news media to take pictures of the inside of the buses. Y'all staff should have been on those new trolleys, as a promotion. I still want VIA to go back and get that other song, It's So Easy When You Take the Bus. You should have copyrights. And if you don't have copyrights, you need to have copyrights. Now, I have 100 of my own TV shows, and they stole my copyright because I don't have copyright. They're making over 40,000, getting over 40,000 hits off my shows. So I need to go get some copyrights and start getting me a lawyer to get some money out of the people that stole my copyright.
Peter Donahue.
And the last thing, I just want to say that y'all doing a good job. I'm really proud of y'all because y'all recognize. Yeah, I know to be brave. Y'all really, well, hold up just a minute. Y'all really recognizing y'all staff, and we never had seen that done before. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, ready? Okay, first of all, I want to say it was nice to be able to come in here and get a Braille program that was nicely bound and formatted, and we those of us who read Braille very much appreciate that, and we hope that when we get the VIA Trans newsletter and hopefully other VIA publications, they will be of the same quality, and that'll be one thing we could take off our bucket list. I'm going to add to what Mary was saying about the cab subsidy. I'm on the viainfo.net and viasmartmove.net sites quite a bit. And I've read about all the initiatives that are going on with setting up new, upgrading existing facilities and adding new transfer centers, new park and rides. I read where VIA recently launched a entertainment shuttle, complimentary entertainment shuttle to operate in the downtown area. These are great things. We praise the Lord for them. Hey, if VIA can do that, why can't we have a $40 or $50 boost to the cab subsidy, so that way we can go, we can go get same day service by taxi to any place in the VIA service area, not just the first 3 miles. That would have, if Mary had been able to do that, she wouldn't have to take time off from work yesterday. Also, we are in the process of starting a business. Tomorrow, sorry. We're in the process of getting a business going. We're operating on shoestrings. We lost some potential income because we were picked up by Via Trans, and instead of being taken downtown, I guess they must have thought we wanted to go to church instead. We were taking the exact opposite direction to where we needed to go. If the cab subsidy was high enough to where we could have taken the cab downtown, we would be able to, we'd be well on the way to creating other transportation options for ourselves. We could ride around in chauffeured limousines at our expense. But thanks to this lovely shared ride system, we lost some opportunities because of that. The other possible solution to the subsidized cab increase would be to offer 2 levels of Via Trans service. For the sake of argument, I'll call one of them Via Trans Primo, point-to-point service, or the standard shared service like we have now. And what I mean by point-to-point, for a higher fare, we don't have to worry about being driven all over town, and we go straight from where we're picked up to our destination. You know, and if Via can make all these other, launch and fund all these other initiatives, they ought to be able to do something, and let's fix this problem. People being joy-ridden all over town, and so that we can further empower ourselves and have a better lifestyle. Thank you very much.
Lori Sertucci.
Yes, my name is Lori Sertucci. I was reading item number 6, which was extension of contract subsidy for the cab. I think that y'all should do a survey of how many people use it and how many people have had problems with the system, with the cab subsidy. Yesterday I was at Ghost Gym and I called them to pick me up at 7:45, and they didn't come for me until 5 minutes after 10, and they said that all they kept saying was, we're trying to find someone, via cab driver, and if we have to, we'll find somebody that's on another part of town. But that's all I kept getting, is we still can't find anybody. If y'all reduce the cabs at night, it's better to just have them run certain hours, like 8 to 5, so that they won't leave people out, hang them out to dry and wait for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And I'm also representing, speaking in behalf of my supervisor, Andy Reyes, at the Lighthouse. He says that the vans show up, and I know it's the new rules, 10 minutes before the people's pickup time, and then they leave. And he was wondering if somehow that a representative of VIA could meet with the Lighthouse about this problem. Because say if a person had a 418 pickup and they go outside 10 minutes before their pickup time and there's a lineup, the staff will not let the drivers leave the van to go get the person. And so the person may end up waiting till their pickup time anyway, and they've lost, time anyway, clocking out 10 minutes before. And Pete Donahue was right about the routing. I was supposed to go to Broadway on Sunday, and the driver picked me up, and we went to the south side to pick up somebody. They dropped him off, and then they went back to the north side on Fredericksburg to pick up another person, dropped them off, and then I went to Broadway. So y'all need to improve, because y'all are always saying that y'all spend too much on fuel. Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, there are no more citizens to be heard.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I was late. I apologize, I was late and I didn't sign in. However, I have two concerns. I agree with Laurie and Pete about the cab services, and I've complained many times. I call down here and complain. And they'll say that they don't have drivers in that area, or you can't be picked up. So what I do, if I really need to go somewhere, I'd say, well, just send me a regular cab. And when I ask for a regular cab, within 10 minutes, they show up. So something is wrong with the program. Okay, on Thursday the 19th, I had a run-in with one of the drivers, and they told me that it was a Via outside who was it for. It was three of us waiting. So I went out, and I asked the driver, who are you waiting for or whatever? He said, who are you? He was very rude. And I told him, I'm writing you up. I don't have to talk to you, and you need to move. You need to get away from my vehicle. I said, excuse me? He said, you need to get away from my vehicle. Move. I've talked to dispatch. He's told me to write you up, and that's what I'm doing. You need to get away from my vehicle. Well, of course, I became irate, and I called Via. I called both places, and I don't know if he was going to run over me or just push me out of the way or whatever. But then I had my cane, thank God, and I was waiting for him to do that. A driver with an attitude like that, why is he working with us? And if that is the case, why don't you guys look into getting drones to pick us up? Probably get better service. All right? Thank you. And again, I'm sorry I was late.
There are no more citizens to be heard.
Thank you very much to our riders that attended our meeting to share your thoughts and concerns. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll take them into consideration. Please let it be known that Trustee Perez showed up, and Trustee Catherine showed up too. So let it be noted. All right, let's move on to agenda item number 5, which is our consent agenda. Items for approval A through C, and informational reports the D through M. Do we have a motion?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Who made the first motion? Okay. Trustee Perez made the motion, and Secretary Harrison seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 6, contract extension via Trans Taxi Cab Subsidy Program and Will Call Service. Ms. Carrasco?
Good evening. Good evening, board members and Madam Chair. The purpose of this presentation tonight is to request the board to approve a contract extension with Yellow Cab of San Antonio for an additional 2 years. Back in March 2013, the board approved a contract agreement with Yellow Cab to provide Via Trans customers a limited number of trips, with Via subsidizing a portion of the meter rate fare for each of those trips. The agreement also provides Via Trans dispatchers flexibility in reassigning trips from Via Trans vans to cabs. We refer to those as will call trips. The program, which is funded in part by a federal grant, provides Via Trans flexibility to both staff and to our customers. The taxi subsidy program allows for same-day trips. For $1.95, which is our standard Via Trans fare, a customer is able to take a short trip, great for same-day planned or unplanned trips. This program is also great for will call trips. Sometimes we don't have a return trip time. Viatrans has the option to shift will calls to taxi, providing Viatrans dispatchers flexibility to ensure service needs are met. The program has been very popular with our customers and with staff as it helps us maintain zero denials rate. Since its inception back in June of 2013, the taxi program has steadily increased in use. Back in June of 2014, we started weekend service. If you see here in our chart, we began with about 50 rides per weekday. Now we're averaging about 200 trips a weekday. Yellow Cab has been a great partner. They are very responsive to customer feedback, and they participate in all of Viatrans workshops and open houses. I'd like to introduce to you their new general manager, Melissa McGee, which is present. If you can stand up. And also Mario Robledo from Yellow Cab is also here today with us. They've been very instrumental in this program and its success. Our recommendation is for staff, actually staff recommends, I should say, Via exercise the option to extend our existing contract with Yellow Cab for another 2 years. The item was reviewed and recommended by the Via Accessible Transit Advisory Committee, chaired by Board Member Harrison, back in February, and was also approved to move forward to the Board of Trustees by the Operational Oversight and Finance Committee on March 3rd. $667,650 is allocated in this year's budget, with half of the expense coming from federal grant funds. VIA anticipates the same level of funding to be available in the upcoming fiscal year. We ask the Board of Trustees to approve VIA's option to extend the contract for an additional 2 years with Yellow Cab of San Antonio. Any questions?
Members, any questions? Yes.
I know that some time ago we had problems with there being enough enough cabs that would help our disabled community. They're very, very vocal and very present here today. And I personally don't know what the numbers are and how much they've increased their fleet, and how, even if we do give this, I'm all for giving them this money, but I would also like to know that we're going in line and growing, and that the support is there for them to grow with our customers that want to use this service. And I have not seen that information, but I would like to see it, and anything
Absolutely,
similar to that.
absolutely. In the last 2 years, we've worked with Mr. Bulabasis, who was a former general manager, and he has worked with us to increase the number of available operators. The operators are trained to be contracted, to be part of this contract. So the operator, if they say there is not a VIA operator, cab driver rather, it's because they have not gone through the training that we are requiring. So he has been working to increase the number by providing incentives to the cab drivers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Morgan. Or Trustee Perez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. I'm supportive of the item. I'll be voting for it. But you talked about the feedback has been positive, the service has been received well by the customers. How do we measure that?
Well, as you know, we do have a customer feedback system. We do measure.
How else do we, in addition to the customer feedback system, how else do we measure and analyze that?
We are watching the number of rides, and we're also watching the number of feedback that we get. And it is, I think we're averaging about 6 complaints a month. And we're talking about 200 rides average a day. So the number of complaints is low, but each complaint is taken very seriously. We talk to Yellow Cab directly. Customers do call Yellow Cab, but they also call us. Ms. Castillo is very familiar with Yellow Cab staff and very familiar with the issues that have come up.
And I think the feedback's great. I appreciate the folks that show up and tell us where we can improve. We always need to improve. But I guess operationally, organizationally, from a a policy standpoint, do we ever, hire secret shoppers to, go in and take the service and then come back and provide us feedback? Is that something we've ever used? Is that?
Yes. Yes, we do. And in fact, the secret shopper program is administered from outside of their area.
Understand.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Members?
Madam Chair.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes. You talked about their training. Who gives the training, and is their training as much as what our employees receive? Or is it just a certain portion of what our employees receive?
It's a portion of especially ADA, accessibility type of training, sensitivity to our disabled community and our seniors. I've actually met with their trainer, and she also participates in our workshops that Via Trans hosts and our open houses. It's very extensive, and each cab driver has to go through the training and be able to recite what Via standards are.
Okay. And also, how many of their cabs are handicap accessible?
I don't have a current number.
Okay. Ramp accessible and handicap accessible.
Would you come up? If you'll state your name for the record.
Hi, thank you. I'm Melissa McGeehee. And as I was saying, we have 26 vehicles that are wheelchair accessible.
Okay, thank you.
Got a question? Yes,
Yes,
Trustee Gambino?
this went through regular procurement initially, and this is a 2-year extension, correct? I'm surprised by the 5% SBE target DBE goal. I'm more impressed, but not totally impressed, by the project goal had been exceeded by an achievement of 21% by May of 2013 through April of 2015. Just wondered if there was any comment on that, on why there was such a low original percentage. Precedes my opinion.
I'm
Because
not
it's
familiar.
below our other areas. I mean.
Right, I'm not familiar with the original DBE goal set.
And is there an anticipation to keep it at 21% and above in the future, 2 years?
I don't see that decreasing on our end, no, sir. We exceeded the goal that was met, and we hope to continue to exceed the goal.
Okay, because I think it's very important, and this is a particular area where it's certainly achievable. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Poneck?
This matter came through our committee, and I am supportive of it, but I also am listening to the concerns and complaints that perhaps we've heard today, and I have sort of this natural curiosity about what the world would look like if we were able to provide the service ourselves without having to rely on a third party, because I do think that one of our strengths is our employees and their ability to understand the clients that we serve. It's not a for-profit operation that we run, and so there's an ability perhaps or an advantage to that that might not accrue to a third party that is a private sector entity. We're thankful for the service you provide, but there's a natural change perhaps in the dynamics, at least I wonder. So I'm concerned about that, and I think that a driver is not a driver is not a driver. I do believe that we have an esprit de corps that at least I'm more familiar with because of what I see every month in our meetings and the stories that we read about in our magazines and so forth. The other issue is, I guess, that historically we've had a challenge in serving this population, and this is an improvement in addressing that challenge. But whenever I get the chance, I always feel like it's important for us to say that VIA has been historically challenged with its funding structure, and perhaps this is a reflection of how we're trying to meet a need with perhaps inadequate resources. I'm glad that the federal government is helping us with this. I would prefer that we not be relying on whether the federal government will decide whether to fund this program going forward. I'd like us as an entity not to be in that posture, but I think under the circumstances it's more important for us to serve this population than to not do that. So those are some of the considerations that are certainly on my mind. Even though I'm supportive of this, I think that we should not lose sight of some of those issues.
Trustee Martin?
Yes, I too am supportive of this initiative. My grandfather was a yellow cab driver in New York City. The if we're doing 200 trips a day, that's 30 days in a month, that's 6,000 in a month, and we have 6 complaints, that's 1 complaint for every 1,000 rides.
Correct.
How does that compare to the overall Via Trans? Are we doing, how many complaints are there per 1,000 rides, or do we have any kind of statistics like that? So has there been a comparison? Because we hear the questions, but unless we know what the baseline is, what is the how does the yellow cab compare to the Star Taxi and or the in-house Via Trans?
Jeff, do you have that information?
I can get that information, but I'd make a couple of remarks. First of all, this is a newborn service, and so Yellow Cab is growing into this service to some extent, getting more and more drivers qualified. So you'll run. I ran a service in Houston like this for 20 years, and I can tell you that by the time I left, that we had this program plus about 55% of the normal service was being run with taxi cabs, because the cab company really embraced it and grew into it. So I would expect that in the early days of a relatively experimental program within our organization, that you would expect that you would have a little higher rate than you would in an established program, you know, that Star Shuttle has been running for 20 years. But we can get you the comparative numbers.
So all of the complaints may not be directly attributed to the yellow cab. The complaint may be, you know, availability, not their performance once.
Correct. Yes. Like for example, if I thought that one of the suggestions tonight, which was that if the drivers tend to be available during certain hours, maybe restrict the program to certain hours, is certainly in certain circumstances might be something good to look at, because Yellow Cab can only provide the service based upon how many of their folks go through our training and are available. And like I said, in the early days in Houston, I had the same issues with building up a cadre of operators and building up a fleet of vehicles that were accessible. Yeah, both of those things is kind of a growing curve.
Keith, did you have a comment?
Yeah, let's say, you know, based on the comments we've heard, we're certainly going to look more closely at our evening service and look at, you know, the availability of how many cabbies are out there who can provide the service. I can guarantee you we will be looking at that issue more closely.
Trustee Marne, had you finished? I'm sorry, I may have interrupted you. Okay.
Can I just add a couple more? The other thing I'll say is that the addition of this capacity, this is like 7 to 8% of our total trips. This has allowed us to eliminate denials. Our on-time performance has been increasing. It's not all due to this. We've done other things, but it's a contributing factor. Our on-time performance now is up to 87%, and that's with the 20-minute standard, which is very strict. We had the highest ridership ever. Last October, we exceeded 100,000 passengers in 1 month. That's the first time that's ever happened in Via Trans history. So, and the cost, with respect to the cost for us to do it, as opposed to a taxi, is about 3 to 1. So, it's also very cost efficient. So, and that doesn't even include the cost of capital to buy more vans and so forth. So it's, you know, we're definitely going to be looking at the evening service, but overall, it's been something, I think, and if you listen to the people at the workshops talk about the taxi service, it's something that's been a positive and has really helped our operations overall. So I just wanted to provide that perspective on it as well.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the board or comments? Before I ask for the motion, thank you for being a VIA partner. Thank you for providing an additional service to our riders. They are very special to us. They're our customers. Okay, and I hope that you align your training of staff with ours, because we're very, you know, we consider our riders special, and so we want to make sure that you do everything that you can to meet their needs, to have them as happy customers as we try to. Okay, and if you have any issues, you know, please make sure that you meet with the staff. But we're also going to be monitoring the complaints. We have high standards, we have high expectations of you, and so we do expect you to deliver that service. So with that, Trustee Poneck, do you have a motion?
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a second from Trustee Perez. Right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, moving on to item number 7, May 2015 service improvements. Mr. Manning.
Good evening, Chair, Board. Just open this up. We are asking for approval for these changes for the May service improvements. We brought them last month, and we're bringing them back after we had our public hearings. The public hearings were very positive. There was one change as we're going through. The two routes that require going out for public hearing was adding the Sunday service to the 515 South Cross route and the 620 Northwest Vista Ingram route. And then we had some minor changes to the 64, where just on the inbound trip, be going back to Military Drive. I know you have seen these before. And of course on the 611 extending over to the Walmart with our outbound trip. The one during our public comment process, we had a route going on Burt Teddy, and the Rainbow Hills Neighborhood Association came to us and asked for this different routing so that we'd come back to Tarasco and back to the Corral for our end of line, where the bus lays over at the end. And so we were able to do that after we received those public comments, and that's all the changes we had. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Members, any questions of Mr. Manning? Mr. Manning, I have one. How do we make the businesses along those routes aware of these changes? Do we send any kind of announcement or anything?
It's, I guess, usually through the newspaper and the neighborhood associations. They contact the neighborhood associations, but we don't always hit the businesses. In this particular, like that one change that we had, we did speak to the convenience store that we turn around at. These were minor changes where they're at. Now, we had talked to the Walmart on the 611 change that we went out to before, and we also talked to the president of the neighborhood association where we go back around, and that was in one of our showcase trips.
Just keep in mind that these changes may affect employers because if their employees are riding the bus, and so instead of them finding out the morning of that they're taking the bus, I'd like for them to make sure that we inform them with plenty of time, and I think a way of doing that is through the employer. So just keep that in mind.
And we do post signs on the stops also. So, I mean, if they go to their stop, they know the changes upcoming when they go to that stop.
All right.
Thank you.
Trustee Gambito, do we have a motion?
Yes, I'd like to move for approval for implementation of the proposed service improvements. And I'd like to also, in addition, I'd like to compliment staff for vetting this so thoroughly through the Planning and Project Development Committee, and for incorporating the input from the Neighborhood Association into a positive change in the route as well. Thank you for that as well. So I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion from Trustee Gambito. We have a second from Trustee Perez?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All in favor, say aye.
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 All against, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 8. Thank you, Mr. Manning. Sure. Transportation Alternative Program Agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation. Clay Smith.
Actually, we approved that item under the ATD, so if you would like to move to item number 9.
Well, you need to approve.
I'd like to
I'm sorry.
approve this. You need to approve the item. You may not need to. Go ahead.
I'd like to move the item, number 8.
We have a motion from Trustee Gambita and a second from Trustee Cedillo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay.
Any questions of them before they leave?
Well, they have number 9.
Oh, they have
So
number 9.
yeah,
Oh.
they're gonna
I know.
leave it.
I know. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to item number 9. Unified Transportation Program Agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation.
Yes. Yes,
Okay, Clay.
Madam Chair and Board of Trustees, for the record, my name is Clay Smith, the Director of the Advanced Transportation District, and the item before you today has a joining resolution with it. And the Unified Transportation Program is a 10-year program that the Texas Department of Transportation adopts in funding transportation projects throughout the state. This last June and August, the Texas Transportation Commission, by minute order, identified IH-35 as needed improvements. IH-35 ranks as one of the top most 100 congested roadways in the state of Texas, and the Texas Department of Transportation Commission allocated or approved $35 million to VIA to find multimodal improvements and solutions to reducing congestion in the IH-35 corridor. Following that, the Board of Trustees approved in September and put these projects into our capital program, projects that included improvements to the Randolph Park and Ride, and kind of wish Ferris was here because he just mentioned needing improvements there. So Randolph Park and Ride, bus amenities, the New Braunfels Avenue Partnership, Northeast Park and Ride, and also IH-35 Northeast fleet to enhance our fleet. These projects were incorporated into our capital program, and so today come to you and requesting that the President and CEO, or his designee, hereby to authorize us to work and negotiate and finalize an agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation for the implementation of these funds. Some of the funds will be actually, we'll say, flexed or transferred over to the federal FTA, and some of the funds will be seeking as grant funds to the Transportation Commission. And again, I've invited Mario Jorge, our partner at TxDOT, our district engineer, who we've been working with on these projects. One of the solutions on the bus stop amenities, some of them actually fall on the TxDOT roadway system. And so in partnership, much like the MyLink that we had in the TAP, Mario has agreed to implement those through the design management and construction management of those projects in accordance to VIA's template at these locations. And so we're, again, working in partnership with TxDOT in there. And have Mario here if you'd like to provide any comments.
Thank you, Clay. Just very briefly, the next steps, I guess, moving forward from tonight, our MPO will consider the TIP revision and we'll be voting on it in the April meeting. It was already presented this week. We'll also be requesting the transfer of funds to FTA that will initiate that process. There'll also be a need for advanced funding agreements that will be executed through this process for the project on the Northeast Park and Ride, and also with the New Braunfels Avenue study. So those are things that will be kind of following up as soon as the board takes action. And we are working with our commission office to try to have their approval for the project-specific items at the April commission meeting. We're trying to work with April, could potentially be May, but we'll try to get it out in April as soon as possible. So that's our kind of next steps for the next couple of months to give you an idea.
Members, any questions? Trustee Gambino?
In that case, I would like to move to authorize the President, CEO, or as designated, negotiate and execute a funding agreement with the TxDOT for the Unified Transportation Program capital improvement projects. And again, thank the staff. This is a wonderful example of a P2 partnership between state and local entities.
We have a second from Trustee Cedillo. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Mario, and we look forward to seeing you at the April Commission meeting. I'm sure you'll be joining us in supporting our effort. Thank you so much. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, 5 Points Transfer Location. Good evening.
Good evening. Last month, we presented information on our plan of renovation for the Ingram Park and Ride. And tonight, we'd like to continue that same conversation with a presentation of our planned enhancements for the nearby 5 Points bus stop. So before I turn the presentation over to Abigail Rodriguez, who is managing this particular project, I'd like to mention that this item is for information only. We are not requesting any board action this evening.
Thank you. Good evening. This slide just gives you a little bit of background of where the 5 Points intersection is. I think we're all very familiar with it, but we do have 6 routes that serve this stop. It is one of our highest ridership stops in the entire system. So the routes are, north-south Blanco, into downtown, along Bandera Road and Culebra Road to the west side, and then the Fredericksburg Road corridor, as well as Vance Jackson. This is the current condition of the stop. We're talking about the northbound stop on Fredericksburg Road. Our our amenities are limited to 2 shelters and the benches. These are along the right-of-way. Currently, we did acquire the parcel in September of last year, so it is a new acquisition. So these improvements will be utilizing the entire space and increasing the accessibility and safety, providing additional amenities for the passengers there. The proposed improvements do include intensive landscaping. We are planning public art, great amount of shade, both natural and man-made through a shade structure, technology in the way of Wi-Fi connection, real-time bus arrival information, enhanced circulation for our ADA passengers, bicycle amenities in the form of a B-cycle station. We also will have the bike lids, the long-term bike parking, and it just increased safety on the entire site. The top left photo is an existing condition, and then the bottom is a rendering from our architect. We do have Fisher Heck working with us on the design. And this is an aerial view of the improvements. Again, utilizing the entire site, kind of the right-hand quadrant where you see the bus. Let's see, these are the canopies of the next-gen shelters that we're proposing. There will be quite a bit of paving, but we do know that folks traverse the site. We're also improving the sidewalk along Fredericksburg Road. This is more than double what it is now, so pulling folks off of the busy road, giving them a little bit of space. But again, if they're destined, kind of quickly moving through the site, they can stay along the road, or if they have more time to kind of be more comfortable, flexible, there's some seating back in here and more of a flexible space. Additional improvements, expanded waiting, as I mentioned, the sidewalks shade both natural and man-made. The red and white is kind of a placeholder, but we do anticipate some kind of shading structure in addition to the shelters that we're proposing. There'll be additional seating walls that are shown here in this perspective. This is the B-cycle station. We've been working with B-cycle. There are 2 stations going in at the San Antonio College campus, so we feel like this is a good connection. We know a lot of students from the west side use this stop. They get off here before they go on to San Antonio College because the buses from this location go into downtown via Flores and Fredericksburg Road. San Pedro. Let's see. So we have received 35% design. We're moving quickly to 90% or 95%. Fisher Heck is our architect. We did hold a stakeholder meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we're having ongoing discussions with the neighborhood associations, District 1, and other stakeholders. So that's kind of an ongoing process. We anticipate construction to begin early in the summer, and that the stop will reopen in the middle of the summer. I wanted to touch on the entire intersection, because our stop is just one piece of a very confusing intersection, and we have other stops that are part of that puzzle. So the northbound stop, will be making extensive improvements here. The southbound stop is at a very far location, and then we have a transfer movement on the 20, which goes up and down Flores. So we have passengers that often do not use the signalized crossing for whatever reason. But so we were working with the city in partnership to improve that situation. From a pedestrian standpoint, we feel like there's a lot that can be done across the street. So going back to this shot, you'll see in just a minute the after picture includes this parcel, and we propose to move this stop down to this area so that they work together. This gives us an opportunity to expand the improvements across the street, complement each other, utilize the creek that's there on the southern end of the picture, and really do increase the pedestrian safety for the entire site. So this is the proposal, and it's very conceptual, but we believe we have enough space to bring both buses here, have additional shelters. You can still make a right turn onto Flores. You can still make a right turn onto Fredericksburg. We're proposing a raised median here to increase the pedestrian safety across these roads, or this road here. And this is kind of another shot of how it would look. And again, this is a gateway into downtown, into the Five Points neighborhood, and frankly into Via, because this is our back door. And I've shared this with the city's traffic engineering department, and they're working on some traffic counts and some turning movement counts right now, but they like the idea very much. They understand the confusion, the safety issue, and they're in support. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Members, any questions? Trustee Poneck.
I just want to comment that when we first talked about it, or last talked about it at the Ops Committee, I don't think you had that across the street option, and that looks great. It's a gnarl of traffic, streets, and history, I guess. So it's a challenge as it's configured, but that looks like it's trying to take advantage of using that resource that we have and serving our riders in a way that seems sensitive to their needs. Right now, it's terrible, right? So this is obviously a very big step in the right direction, and I'm glad that you're working with the city to have them, be inclusive about the thinking going forward. It may be at some point in the future, as I understood it from the committee meeting, that this whole traffic area may be reconfigured in some way at some point, and what we're doing here is not going to be somehow wasted in the process should that happen.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, real quickly, same comments as Doug. I remember from committee, but thank you for that. That's great work. I really like the enhancement, the pedestrian safety, the traffic calming that it would, by its very nature, introduce. One quick design comment. I think it was slide 8 where you showed the overlay, and he talked about the use of pavers in that area. Maybe there's an alternate hard surface to use where we don't encourage creation of ongoing maintenance problems. I mean, how pavers can be sometimes. It makes me think of Main Plaza, good or bad, but how it becomes uneven and they become trip hazards. And if we're having our customers out there, that might have special needs and we're creating a trip hazard, probably not the best thing for us. So as you go through the design process, you guys think about it. But great job. It's a fantastic looking project.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. The paving is actually intended to be just a stamped or a colored pavement, so it may not be actual pavers.
I heard you mention pavers, so it just triggered that thought.
I would like to comment also, Chairman.
Yeah.
I do like the introduction of the B-cycle. It's become multimodal. People forget that the bicycle is a part of being a multimodal service. I also like that you do have a concern of you're designing it with safety in mind and to prevent things. Now, it's not a what if or when, but the design of it is very important to maybe detract or minimize certain things that are happening. Views of where you can see down the street. And I know most of our operators, I think pretty much maybe 50 or 60% of them actually start their line service there. They actually get on the system there. So with the safety in mind. And I do like the southern piece because we didn't see that before, but the southern piece is a very good addition to that. So I do like this design very much so.
Yes.
I know you've already started speaking with the city, but have we actually explored the option of linking the two northern parcels together and just making that a closed bending road down that way so that our ridership can go back and forth between those parcels without having to worry about oncoming traffic that way, and just connect those to make one nice...
These two parcels?
Yes. So that would just become an elbow turn right there, and we can have riders walk between where the 3D mural is and where all of the stops will be.
This is actually the entrance to the bus yard for the vehicles. Yeah, I should have labeled the roads, I'm sorry. This is La Harpe, so this is our main entrance, so...
I didn't know if that was it or if it was further down.
Tex, you want to stop our business altogether? Is it?
No, not by any means. I'm just looking at this in terms of safety and people crossing this street.
But we did want to incorporate this parcel and incorporate the low-impact development and the kind of native vegetation to this parcel because we do control this. So.
Thank you, Trustee Morgan. Any other comments?
Yeah, I had a comment and a question. I think it's a spectacular design and great, vast improvement from what we've had historically. How far away, two questions. One is, how far away are we from the proposed San Pedro Creek area?
It's actually quite a bit. It's the outfall that's at Fox Tech, near Fox Tech, so
okay, it's quite
I'm not sure the distance, a mile and a half maybe.
I love the Sombria concept there, and the red and white. You said it was a place holding. I was going to ask what sort of materials you were going to plan for that. But
right now it's a fabric shade structure, and the architect shows it as kind of that patchwork,
yeah,
where it's not completely solid.
I love it.
We actually
I just
had
wondered
a
about
concern.
the durability over time.
And the maintenance, yes, that's a concern of ours too. And the maximization of shade.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's the whole concept of the Sombria, which I think is essential for that particular area, because people do wait there a very long period of time.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. It's wonderful design.
Thank you. I had one more comment. We did utilize the UTSA Center for Archaeological Research because of the connection to the Spanish colonial Arrocha Acequia. I wanted to get that right. They did 5 backhoe trenches in preparation for our design, and they did not find the acequia. So, but we did utilize UTSA for that work.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I withdraw my questions because of a conflict of interest.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the report. Look forward to the opening.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to make one more brief comment on the Ingram green space, which we had an update on last week. I've also been having some preliminary but exciting discussions with the city's Parks and Recreation Department regarding a possible partnership to complement that improvement. So hopefully in the next month or so we'll have more to tell you.
Love partnerships. Thank you very much. The time is now 6:27 p.m. and the Via Metropolitan Transit Board of Trustees will officially go into a closed executive session. I'm sorry?
We have to motion.
Okay, so we'll call item 11 and then we'll go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do an open portion.
Okay, so we're going to do the legislative update in open session.
A
Portion of it. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, Ms. Russell. My general counsel did not advise me properly.
I have that problem.
I have a feeling your general counsel just took one for the team, but I very much appreciate that. Madam Chair, members of the board, I just wanted to provide a brief legislative update for you. As of March 13th, a few weeks ago now, 7,000 bills have been filed in Austin for this session. That represents a historic high for the amount in one session. Our lobby team continues to monitor an inventory of about 90 bills on behalf of VIA, and we continue to be very actively involved in that process. Earlier today, House Bill 1, which is the budget plan, which represents an amount of $209.8 billion, was voted out of appropriations, and it's now headed to the House floor. This amount is roughly $7.7 billion above the current budget. It leaves a balance of what appears to be $8.4 billion on the table, but approximately half of those monies are tied to dedicated funds and purposes that can only be used for specifically codified purposes. So the rainy day fund balance at this time is estimated to be about $11.1 billion at the end of the biennium. And all indications from both chambers are that the spending cap will remain in place. Senate will continue their work on budget issues through this week. When we look back at the House side, the largest increase in spending actually has to do with health and human service issues. It's a 6.2% increase, or $4.6 billion. And appropriations also voted out today House Bill 2, which is a supplemental bill to address unexpected costs and IOUs, if you will, that are associated with the current budget. And the amount of House Bill 2 at this time is $433 million. In terms of specific legislation, we continue to watch Capital Metro's buses on the shoulders, as we have discussed. This bill has been carried by Senator Watson, companioned by Representative Celia Israel. It's been referred to committee in both chambers. It still awaits a hearing. Of interest locally, while VIA has no position on the bill, House Bill 169 by Representative Lyle Larson, that is related to the requirement that members of the governing board of certain Metro Rapid Transit authorities be elected, did receive a hearing in Austin last Thursday. It was heard in the House and in the committee, and then left pending in the committee. And then related to that, there have been other local bills that came up that VIA will monitor. One that is new since we originally spoke last was Senate Bill 1318 by Menendez. That's related to the consumption of alcoholic beverages near public transportation stops. We will continue. We've had some early session conversations that Mr. Gonzalez led, and we will continue to monitor that item. Apart from that, we continue to collaborate with other transit authorities and our local partners, of course, in the Texas Transit Association.
Thank you. Members, any questions of Ms. Russell? Thank you very much. May I proceed with closed session? Thank you. The time is now 6:31 p.m. and the VIA Metropolitan Transit Board of Trustees will officially go into closed executive session. The items we will discuss during this executive session are
Yes, we will do both.
Item 11, entitled Legislative Update, which are executive session items pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney, and Item 12A, entitled Legal Briefing, A, Parking Initiatives, Tobin Garage Parking Agreement, which is an executive session item pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney. All persons who are authorized to attend the executive session, please proceed directly to the small conference room. Thank you. It is now...
Steal that thing from you.
It is now 7:02 p.m. and we are officially coming out of a closed executive session regarding agenda items 11 and 12A. No deliberations of public policy or vote-taking occurred during this executive session. Members, anything else that you would like to bring up before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Trustee Morgan, a second from Secretary Harrison. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. It was a great meeting. Appreciate you all's attendance and look forward to continuing to do the great service we do. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.